let's talk about it. The return, Roman Reigns. How do we feel?
I gotta. Well, obviously we love it. We're gonna gush over it for about 5 minutes here, but I want to talk before that the way WWE set it up was, I thought, really interesting and smart. Almost to the extent where it kind of sucked for Alexa Bliss. But going into this, we
K-Camp, shout out to her.
They cut her off for real. We knew there needed to be a big moment on the Thunderdome to kind of kick it off right. And we'd heard that the Drew McIntyre Randy Orton thing wasn't going to main event, so we thought it was going to be Retribution that was coming out. Right, the whole night we're waiting for Retribution. Yeah, the whole night we're waiting for the lights to go out. So at the end of the night, we're like, okay, I guess we're going to get Retribution attacking The Fiend. And the camera work, to me, and this is a company that doesn't do camera work very, very well, or if at all, lately, especially with the Rey Mysterio match from Raw. But they had The Fiend holding up the belt. Then he looks over to his left, and I was like, okay, there goes Retribution. Boom! Out the side of the screen, it's Roman, and I hopped out my seat like, holy fuck, he's fucking back.
Oh my God.
And it was like the way Michael Cole even was just like, who is that? It was like, he was wearing all black too, which is also awesome, because you're still thinking it's Retribution until he flips his hair up and you see it's Roman Reigns. I thought it was a spectacular reveal. I think Roman immediately gives SmackDown a shot in the arm, where on Friday I'm like, I'm fucking watching that show.
First of all,
I'm watching SmackDown every week.
100%, because Roman Reigns returned. First of all, he's jacked. He's got a t-shirt, wreck everything and leave, whatever. He's got new Hollywood teeth. He is in here.
He got cartoon teeth.
Oh my God. But he came. I mean, this is something that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. And we wasn't sure it was going to happen, at least in this COVID era. But now we can promptly move over the Thunderdome era of WWE. And Roman Reigns returns. It's a shot in the arm immediately after he's targeting the Universal Championship. All seems, again, right in the world. Like, you're looking at everything back in the WWE picture, especially after the SummerSlam card. And it's like, wow, there's, Sasha and Bayley. And oh my God, this Drew thing is all hitting. And oh my God, Roman Reigns is back. Like, you're here and you're like, oh my God, we're going to be all right.
But it also lends some credence, because, of course, on SmackDown Friday, we saw AJ Styles lose the IC title. I think some things are opening up, if you will, for Roman to have some dance partners if he does indeed take the title back. It was announced very, very quickly on Raw, but countlessly throughout the show, that there's going to be a triple threat, no holds barred Universal title match between Braun, The Fiend, and Roman Reigns for the Universal title. So we can look forward to that on Sunday. We're going to talk about our thoughts on that in a minute. Right. But immediately, Roman's back, and it's to the races. And to me, I'm just going to say it. Let's just wipe the last 5 months away.
Yeah. I mean,
of the men's division on SmackDown. It just didn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. Non-canon. Completely non-canon.
Even at Payback, which had a pretty solid main event between Braun and The Fiend before Roman actually signed the contract, that was the overarching story of the show, right? Was that Roman still hadn't signed. Paul said he's going to be there, don't worry, but we're just gonna we're gonna wait to sign this contract. So you get 10 minutes of Braun and Bray beating the hell out of each other before Roman comes out, signs the paper with Heyman, throws the pin, and comes in with a chair. Spears the Fiend. Fiend kicks out, of course, because he's the Fiend. Kicks the Fiend in the nuts. Spears Braun. 1, 2, 3 for the win. Everybody erupts. I mean, I really want to ask you, Meelz. We never saw this with John Cena. He never flipped, ever. No one ever believed that Roman would ever flip, because they looked at it as a John Cena, we're going to keep him face no matter what. How do you feel about this course correction with Roman, in that we're going to completely say, you know what? He's not the top face anymore. We don't need that John Cena top face. We have that in a Drew. We have that in a Kevin Owens. We have that in a Keith Lee. We're going to let Roman do this. How do you feel about that change of heart here? Because I think that's a big thing that no one's really talking about.
So I don't know if it's truly, I think it's a change of character for Roman Reigns, more so than a change of allegiance. And I'll say this because I feel like they've seen kind of the route that it's going to go. This is an opportunity where you have the top guy off for quite a considerable amount of time. You actually have the opportunity to do something. and as opposed to just coming back, doing the same thing, et cetera, et cetera. You have an opportunity. There's no crowds. There's no people to kind of like shit on your product or take a hold of the show or kind of course correct anything like that. You have the real true opportunity to be a creative. This is something that WWE has never done before because they have never decided, okay, we're going to take our top guy and we're going to transform him into a heel. I mean, they've done it unsuccessfully, but we're going to take our top guy, transform him into a heel and, or tweener. I don't know at this point.
He's a heel. I mean,
and
they made it so clear. Like people were literally still asking if he was a heel or not the next day. And I'm like, he kicked the Fiend in the nuts.
He's such a, but here's the thing. It's such like a rent. I think this is more so of a character shift for Roman Reigns. And I think because we're going to get this with a lot more, attitude. We're going to get this with a lot more, him speaking kind of like how he actually is. And I think it's going to add a lot more development to the arc of Roman Reigns. For the last 5 years, we've been talking about the same Roman Reigns and like, here we go with the same character arc. Even last week, we were like joking about like, does he do it at Mania again? Like, does he come up and, fight whoever at Mania again? And it's like, I can't handle that. And I think a lot of people realize that we just can't handle it. We have to do something else. And I think this is an era where WWE talent has a lot more things to say. We are in an era where Paul Heyman is still under contract, but Brock Lesnar is not. So we have things to do with this man that we are paying so heavily. Let's incorporate into the show. And it's great. It makes SmackDown, which a show which suffered by like things like non-must-see things, especially with a lot of its top stars out and going through a lot of the motions over the last number of months. It makes it a must-see show, at least for this one particular character. That is a guy. That is a guy that you create. When you have a show and you're like, okay, we need to watch this to see what he is going to do next. That is when you have made a guy. And that's what Roman Reigns is at this point. He's a made man.